Hello everyone and welcome to SuttonsDaze and to the canning chat. Every Wednesday we do a canning chat. We answer your questions about canning and we have 3 pages worth today. So bear with me as I go through. I am going to try to put the markers down below. I forget what they're called. Anyway, so that, you know, you can skip to them. Subscriber had a really good idea with that, so I'm going to try to do that moving forward, and as time allows, I will go backwards and try to do those ones also. But I'll at least start with today's. Okay, so we've gotten a lot of really good questions, and one of the questions actually wasn't from a canning chat video. It was from an old video that I did about canning meat. And so I thought I'd throw this in there because I thought it was a really good conversation to have. Okay, so Vicaro for Evelwood, Vicaro for Everwood, I don't know. Anyway, says, if you can do sausage patties in a canning jar, can you do hamburger patties in a canning jar? Because you would just simply have to pull them out if they're separated with a piece of parchment paper and throw them on a grill to warm them up, give them grill marks and that crispy outer coating. I think it should work. Any comments? Absolutely, I have comments. Okay, so my comments are this. And this goes with why I don't can sausage patties anymore either. Because when you cook raw meat, okay, on a griddle, on, you know, frying pan over an open flame, the natural inclination of that meat, that ground meat, is to bind itself, okay? That meat binds itself together so that when you take a bite, there's a tearing, okay? You can feel the pull from that. So when I canned sausage patties, I thought the same thing. It'd be a really great thing to do. Let's give it a try. Okay, and I browned them, you know, cooked them up first, put them in, put liquid. Well, what happens is that when you pressure can it, okay, you are then further cooking it, but you're cooking it in liquid, which is the only safe way to do it, okay? So then you're boiling your cooked meat. Boiled meat does not have that tension that is caused when you cook raw ground meat, okay? So the sausage patties, while they were cooked and they had a decent flavor, they did not have the proper texture. You could crumble them with a fork. I mean, literally, if you had no teeth, you'd have no trouble eating them, you know? And to me, it wasn't good. And so with a burger, you're going to run into the same issue. I don't know that parchment paper would make any difference. When you pull them out, it'd have to be a wide mouth jar, and you would grill them, but they don't have that weave from cooking at a raw, you know, from a raw place, to stay structured very well. Somebody's going to tell me that I'm wrong, okay? This is my experience. I am very, I'm not a very picky eater. You know, I have very low expectations for most of my food, but, I do want cooked burgers and patties to have that texture. Otherwise, to me, it's just ground meat. Why make the patties, you know? So I don't know that you'll be totally pleased with it. I think that, your expectations would have to be lowered significantly to consider it to be something that you would want to do on an ongoing basis. Is it convenient? I don't know. It's just as easy to take canned ground beef, mix something together with it, slap it on a bun. Seriously. So I wanted to be sure to answer that because that's something that comes up kind of often. You know, that weave is important, and it's kind of like hot dogs. That was in the group today. You know, like some things are just not meant to be canned, and to have the expectation that they will be similar or the same when they come out of the jar. So I hope that answers your question. Those are my comments. My buddy Steph from Lemon Crinkle says, my question, with all the jar and lid shortages, has anyone anywhere answered why in a way that makes sense? They obviously make jars with lids. What's the issue of just making lids? I don't disagree with you, and unfortunately I don't have an in. I wish I did. I don't have an in at Newell to figure out where they're putting their head, because it's obviously not in their product. Now, here's the issue, okay? You know, demand has more than doubled, more than doubled. Jars are a necessary thing for anybody that's new in the game. However, lids are extremely necessary. It makes kind of the rest of it useless. So I don't understand either. I know that they cannot keep up with the demand and that they are now considering outsourcing. And what that means in my mind is it's leaving the country, okay? They can't get the supplies they need to make the product. And we're all going to suffer as a result. So what I do suggest now should have been done a long time ago, now, is to try to get some reusable lids, okay? I'll put the links for those down below because there's a learning curve, but I highly recommend using them, especially when you're doing not a lot of, not a lot of canning. It's a great opportunity to try them. Try them now before the harvest comes in. But if you are stocking up now, learn to use them, okay? Because I don't think this is going away soon, you guys. I really don't. So I know that I have increased my store of reusable lids. I'm sitting very comfortably right now on the metal lids for smallmouth jars, but for the wide mouth, it's becoming precariously low. So I'm going to be using those, if the time comes. I do can primarily in smallmouth, but I wish I had a really great answer for you. I don't. So if you see them, get them. If you see them, try not to get all of them, because that's part of the issue also. If you can justify using them within a year, get them, okay? Because then you're taken care of and then you're not out there buying them anymore. But if you already have, like if you're me and you already have a few years worth of lids, I have no business buying any more lids, okay? I need them to be available for all of you. So that is my focus. Like when my hardware friend, okay, when those come in, those are giveaway lids, right? I'm going to be doing giveaways with those. They'll be going out to people that I know that need them. I'll have them just in case for that purpose. But he's back ordered. I'm not confident I'm going to see those lids. So do what you can to try to move to the reusable lids. They have budget-friendly options. Again, I'll throw the links down below. I love Harvest Guard lids. I love the owner of the company and what they stand for and the way they communicate. So I'm kind of sticking there, but Tatler has been around forever. They are essentially one and the same. Wanda Weber says, Lisa, regarding my question on the vacuum sealing of jelly jars, the ones I have are ball 8-ounce quilted jelly jars. When I put the pint sealer cap on the top to seal it, it is very loose and just wiggles around. I have a ball lid on the jar, but the vacuum cap will not grip the jar and seal it. I have no trouble sealing pint jars. I hope this is clear. It is, and I don't understand why. Have you tried using 2 lids? I know it sounds odd. It sounds counterproductive. Try using 2 lids, okay? It will only seal one, but that extra lid seems to give it the extra depth and whatever it needs. It is also possible that, I'm thinking, try that, Wanda. Give that a try. And I'm going to end up pulling out my jar sealer and my pint jars because you mentioned specifically an 8-ounce quilted jar. So I'm pretty sure I have one of those. I will pull that out. I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared for this. I will pull that out. The sealer cap I'm using is from Food Saver. So you've got quality everything. I would, okay, so try that. Try 2 lids. It will only seal one. The other one you'll use again. I have no trouble sealing pint. Hope I cleared up this question. Okay, so yeah, because you want to store some powders in these smaller jars. And when you're doing powders, remember you want something else in there, like say a coffee filter, to keep it from sucking up into your machine, okay? But try 2 lids. Let me know how that goes. We'll revisit it next week if we need to. Thanks, Wanda. Kim Stanley says, I have been having a siphoning issue. I think I may not be putting the rings on fitting enough. I did 32 pints of corn and they are all down at least halfway. Are these still good? You have a multi-part question here. Are these still good? If they all sealed, they're good. However, I would use them sooner than later. Put those in front of your rotation, okay? Now, as far as the siphoning issue, to me, that sounds like your heat's too high. That sounds to me like your temperature is not being regulated properly. or you're processing at too high of a pressure. So there's a whole bunch of what ifs here that I don't know because I'm not there with you. So I would say that if it's siphoning, the things that tend to cause that are you moving the canner during the canner process. Are you processing for the correct time and weight? Okay. Is it 15 pounds? Is it 10 pounds? Is it 11 pounds? And those are going to be very key in that conversation right there. Also, as far as the siphoning, are you letting the canner sit for 5 to 10 minutes after it is completely depressurized on its own before you take them out of the canner? Because that can cause siphoning also. There's a lot of what ifs here. So Kim, if you want to get back with me, let me know. But to me, it sounds like there's something not quite right with the process. So let me know. Great question. Red Hat Pat. I want to make a bacon jam and was wondering if it could be canned. It has fried minced bacon as one of the ingredients, as well as onion, sauteed garlic. It also has sweeteners, barbecue sauce. Okay, so somewhere, I'm sure somebody in a book has published a bacon jam that is safe to can, so they say. There is no approved recipe for bacon jam for canning. It's one of those things that you make and you put in your fridge, okay? Everybody has an opinion. I'm sure we'll hear them. So, you know, some people may do it. It's not something that I do. It's just not something that would get used around here, quite honestly. But there's no approved recipe for it. So I would start there. Not just go with a recipe, but find a recipe that is supposedly approved. But at the end of the day, there's no way to can it safely according to the National Center for Home Food Preservation. I hope that helps your question. Kay Anderson, how hard or easy is it to replace the pressure gauge, a petcock to a vent pipe, and a plug on an All-American canner? I was gifted a 930 a few months ago, but it is old and I would feel better about it if using, okay, she'd feel better if she was using new stuff. It's not that hard. It's actually pretty easy. So first, find out what kind of canner, okay? See if there's, you know, model number, something you have to go by. Order the spare parts, okay? Then take off the ones that are there and you'll see how easy it is. And then put them back on until the spare parts arrive. Practice with your canner. It's a piece of equipment. You need to know how to operate it. Very, very important. So do it. Kay Anderson, great deal. Deborah Bjornson, can you pack your jars too tightly when doing raw packed meat like chicken or pork? On my second pressure canning session, I had some siphoning in 2 jars. I followed the rules, but I think I packed the jars too tightly. They had good headspace and followed canner instructions to the letter. Your input would help. The jars all did seal. Okay, if your jar's sealed, you're good. Siphoning happens. Siphoning happens. Should it be a regular thing that you try to attain? No, okay, but it does happen. Now, as for it, can you put too much chicken or whatever into your jar, okay? If you're maintaining the headspace, in my opinion, no. National Center for Home Food Preservation says to loosely pack. I never loosely pack. I want that thing full of chicken, okay? So it's, you know, however you're comfortable. But siphoning happens. So don't beat yourself up on that. Perfectly normal, perfectly fine. I think you did great. Congratulations. K. Geisel RN. Newbie, I pressure canned 6 pints of string beans and forgot to debubble. I water bathed 16 pints of strawberry jam and forgot to debubble. Are these safe? The headspace afterwards were all fine. Can you explain the purpose of debubbling? Because of... Oh, okay. So, congratulations on starting canning. I'm so glad. Okay, so number one, if they sealed, they're safe. Okay, if they sealed and you canned them for the proper time, okay, they're safe. The headspace was all fine afterwards. They're safe. The purpose of debubbling. Okay, I never debubble jam. I'm guilty of never debubbling jam. Never understood it unless it's like a super chunky, like my praline syrup, something like that, right? But I don't debubble jam, and I don't think I debubbled a praline syrup either. But string beans, yeah, you should debubble those. Number one, okay, there are air pockets when you're putting different foods, vegetables, whatnot in the jar, and then putting liquid in the jar. air pockets develop. It's natural. It's part of the process. So debubbling does two things. First, it gets that air out of there, which A, can alter your headspace, okay? And B, those can harbor bad things, and you don't want them in there. Those can cause failures. You don't want that excess air in there. It can trap bacteria underneath into those air bubbles, makes it so that it doesn't die, believe it or not. So you do want to debubble. Kind of make yourself up a list. I need to make a list. Should I make a list? Okay. So kind of, make it part of your process list and check it off. Debubbling is, it can make or break a canning session depending on what you're canning. But sometimes, as you can see, nothing happens. You should be safe. You should be safe. Okay. But I would, make it a point to always try to debubble. That's why. Thanks for asking. Sunsets on the Gulf are amazing. I love the name. Okay. Can I stack my pints of canned food one stack high if I use the ball box for the top layer for support without harming the bottom pint jars? Yes. Yes, that's an absolutely acceptable method of stacking. Yes. A Peacemaker. Hey, Lisa. I wonder if I'm missing something. Many people are asking how to can frozen foods. I had always thought that freezing is just another way to preserve, so with the prices and unavailability of lids and jars, what is the purpose of canning something that is already preserved in the freezer? I understand if I was making jam from frozen berries or sauce from tomatoes, but not canning frozen vegetables or meats. I would appreciate your response in case I'm not catching something that I should be doing differently. Okay, I'm not going to tell you that what you're doing is wrong, okay? Everybody has their own way of doing things. Now, I can only speak from my mode of thinking, right? So that's what I'm gonna go with here. Our electrical grid is iffy on a good day. Around here, if you blink the wrong way, our power goes out. It's a regular fight around here. When our power goes out, it's a huge issue for our freezers. So yes, you can do generators, whatever, right? But I want shelf-stable food. That to me is key. I want shelf-stable food. So for me, defrosting the chicken and cutting it up and putting it into jars, because I know that's how I'm going to use it, is the perfect solution. I no longer have to worry about the power going out. I no longer have to worry about my freezer dying. Yeah. I no longer have to worry about that stuff, right? Shelf-stable to me is key. Shelf-stable real food is super key. So that is a large reason for the proteins that I can. Now, obviously, you cannot can an entire chicken breast, pull it out, grill it, stuff it, do it. No. You're going to end up with canned chicken, just like you buy canned chicken from the store. Ground beef, just like ground beef from the store. You're not going to can up a T-bone and have it something that you can pull out and put on the grill. No, when you pressure can it, you are cooking it, okay? So when you pull it out, it is going to be a much different version of the product than if you cooked it that way. So that's why for that. Now, also making freezer space is optimal. And I'm so glad that I worked as hard as I did at clearing freezer space, because my interim freezer then didn't take as hard of a hit as it could have. I still lost a lot. I didn't lose that much. So a lot of it is clearing the freezer space. If you're in hurricane area and that's a regular thing that you have to deal with, you don't want to lose that stuff. Throw it into jars, call it a good day, and you've got it for later use. Now, if you can't get fresh, if you're in an area where you can't get fresher from the farm, sometimes buying those frozen green beans or that frozen corn is the next best thing, because it's a great product that tastes better than the commercially canned stuff, So it really depends on who you are. That's why I do it. That's why I have the protein that I do on the shelves, why I have the vegetables I do on the shelves. It all depends on who you are and the situation you live in. So a Peacemaker, I hope that cleared that up for you. Great question. So Kathy Rowe says, my honey bought 3 pressure canners at our citywide yard sale in May. Congratulations. The 2 Prestos need jigglers, and I'm having trouble finding any in stock. My question is, are the jigglers made to fit particular canners, or can I use the jiggler I already have on my original bought new Presto on the yard sale ones? All 3 are similar size Presto canners. So Great question. Okay. Because if you've been paying attention, I've been really posting when those jigglers are available again. If you look on the ad that Amazon has, it tells you what model numbers the jiggler is good with. So go with that. Also, definitely, I think a commenter left this down below. Definitely, if you want to know if maybe you can get around that, right? Call Presto directly. GoPresto.com is their website. Yeah, I think that's it. GoPresto.com. So there should be a customer service phone number there or an email way to reach them and see what they have to say about it. But you want to check the model numbers with the ad, the Amazon ad, and if they work, if they match, you're good. Otherwise, call Presto directly and find out if there's a workaround. Congratulations on the pressure canners. Epic score. Okay, so now we have Devin Adam. Pressure canning newbie here and checking out all of your videos. Thank you. 2 questions. I saw your raw pack hamburger video. I've heard a few times that raw pack hamburger is the biggest no-no due to how dense it would be. I'm all for doing it using only low-fat grass-fed beef. Tonight I heard you speak of potatoes being too thick in a soup for canning, so I'm very confused. Also, second time asking, the only meat I see on sale lately is pork butt. I have canned it before, but it took over 2 hours with very sharp knives to remove the blobs of fat. I know there's no way to spend 2+ hours carving out fat, so what am I doing wrong? I'm not nitpicking superfluous fat, just the hunks, larger than a ½ inch or so. Okay, so first, let's hit the first questions. I no longer raw pack hamburger. According to the National Center for Home Food Preservation, it is a density issue. They're not certain that the center of it gets to the temperature that it needs to kill off any of the bacteria or botulism spores, okay? I highly recommend, it's a better product, honestly. It's just a better product to par cook it and then stick it in there and add some liquid. You won't be disappointed. It is so worth it, okay? So highly recommend that. I think I'm going to have to take that video down. Potatoes being too thick in a soup for canning. So yes, so any squash or potatoes or anything thick like that. Technically, I think split pea is not an approved recipe because of the density issues. Some split pea soup are that's thick as wet concrete, and potato soup can do the same thing. Now, I have a video. I will remember to put the link down below where I did a potato soup with my home canned potatoes. I made dinner in 5 minutes. I'm not kidding. It was awesome. It was so good. So can your potatoes. Don't make potato soup. The density in the jars is very important. I'm going to take down that hamburger video. I am. So as far as carving the pork butt, I think the more you do it, the better you get at it. Make sure your knife is super sharp, and cut the pork butt into, halves, and then halves from there, quarter the pork butt, and tackle it from that angle. That might make it easier. I know it takes us at least an hour to do a couple of pork butts, so I think it's just a matter of the more that you do it, the more used to it that you get. Take a deep breath, dive in, schedule yourself enough time to do it, and you'll do fine. It'll get better, I promise. Amy Ogden, if you have botulism in a jar that you canned, can you tell before eating it? Does heating it kill the botulism? Okay, you cannot tell before eating it. That's why people get sick. This is a really good question. And I don't have these scientific facts for you, okay? But the fact is, if you canned it properly, you don't have an issue. This is why we go back to the rules and regs from, the approved methods with the National Center for Home Food Preservation. Now, I have heard over and over and over again that if you want to make sure that your food is safe, then you take your canned food out of the jar and you put it in a pot and you heat it up until it's boiling, and then you can do something with it. What a waste of time, and you're just killing more nutrients. So here's the deal, okay? If you didn't can it and you don't trust it, don't eat it. If you canned it and you don't trust it, don't eat it. If you canned it and you're just not sure about the process, trust the process. If you did it by the book, if you did it the way you're supposed to, trust the process. You'll be fine, okay? I think that reheating your already canned food is a waste of time and a waste of food, in my opinion. That's my opinion alone. But I know that a lot of people do it. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. If you don't trust the food that you're getting from somebody else, throw it out. Seriously. If you don't know if they're canning it properly, or if you know they're not canning it properly, just get rid of it. And I'm not an advocate of food waste. I hate wasted food. It's not worth getting sick over. So follow the process, trust the process, and you're good. Angie Stott, I'm totally blind. I water bath can. I wonder if you think it's possible for someone who does not see it all to pressure can safely. Angie, I think this is a phenomenal question. Truly a phenomenal question. So from my heart to you, okay, I would say that if you start off with somebody else with you, if you learn how to do it with somebody else with you, and you take some extra precautions, that eventually, and with a jiggler, with the rocking regulator, right? With that, I think that audibly you could learn to pressure can without seeing. I think that the safety issues fall more in line with burning yourself. That would be my biggest fear. So if you have the jiggler, and this is the only way I'd advocate it, okay? If you have the jiggler, you can audibly hear when that comes up to pressure. You can set your timer. When your timer goes off, you can turn off the heat. You hear when it has stopped. I would let it go another, I don't know how long. That's why it's important for you to do it a few times with somebody else, so that you can try to figure out the times for your canner in your situation, because you know they all have their own personality. So I think it's something that can be done, and I would be interested in hearing how you do with it. Let me know, because I know there's a lot of sight impaired people who run into this, so you would be a rock star for certain. Let me know how it goes for you, Angie. Lucy Thomas says, hi Lisa, so I have one of those personality canners, don't we all? When mine starts to vent for the 10 minutes, it starts strong and then stops. All you feel is air coming up. Then it starts up again. Is that okay? And should you be able to see that stream? No, you don't know. No. So yes, that's okay. You know that steam's coming out. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. There are times when I can't see mine. It depends on the light, and so as long as you're letting it vent for that full 10 minutes, whether you can see it or not, does not matter. That makes absolute sense, and you don't have to be able to see it at all, as long as you know that it's a steady stream of steam coming out of there, okay? So definitely great question, because I know it perplexes a lot of people. Lisa Phillips says, I'm a new canner. I also work full-time and have to be up at 4 a.m. So my canning nights, I am up late to finish up. My question is, after my last batch in my Presto, we have a thunderstorm coming in. My last batch in my Presto is complete. Can I just turn off the stove and go to sleep? No. Okay. And I paraphrased that huge. I want to get done before the storm. So, no, you really shouldn't. And the reason for that is flat sour. I'm going to put a link down below to my video about flat sour. I understand. I get it. I'm a working gal myself. I absolutely understand. But what you should do, honestly, is just schedule it for a different time when you have the availability to be there to have it come down off of pressure and wait and take them out. Otherwise, you are risking flat sour. While it is not a hugely common occurrence, okay, it does happen. And it's a waste of food. It won't kill you, but it tastes terrible. Last question for the day, hopefully before the storm, is Missy LaPlante. Last year, my husband and I canned 15 pint jars of wax beans. Went by the book for clean jars, clean veggies, proper times for pressure canning. During the winter months, the wax beans all turned pink. I never saw that before. Checked the seals. They were all good. We even had our soil tested, which came back the same as 2 years before. We have well water. No other canned jar of veggie turned pink. Would you have any idea what caused this? We were thinking of just freezing them this year. No, I don't know, unless you used a salt in there, either an iodized salt or, yeah, that would be the thing that I think would trigger me, would be the salt. Having that particular salt in there might have been the issue. Other than that, I'm not entirely certain. It hasn't happened to me. It's not something I've run across. So I understand the preference to going, you know, in the freezer. But wax beans are kind of yellow anyway. So did you open them up? Did you taste them? Did they retain the pink color after you open the jar? I'm kind of curious. Let me know in the comments down below. Okay, everyone, I hope that you have enjoyed this canning chat. I hope that you got some really good information off of it. Remember that if you have a question and I haven't answered it, be sure to put second time in the comment down below, and I will come back and answer it. We've got a lot of questions last week, so I'm sure I missed some. And if you have any answers, definitely throw that down in the comments section below. Maybe you guys know why they would turn pink. I'm not entirely sure. So until next time, remember, if you like what we do here, please hit that like, subscribe, and share. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook, and be safe.